Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames. Today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Black Sack. I've been obsessed with this deck. I think this is the fourth night in a row that I've been recording leagues and playing leagues because I've been just absolutely enamored with this deck. What you want to do is get a bunch of fodder out, sacrifice it to your various effects, and kill the opponent that way. So for fodder, we have Nezumi, Linkbreaker, and Infestation Sage, which make more bodies when they die, making it so we get twice as many sacrifices for the creature. Shambling Ghast and Greedy Freebooter make treasures or have some other utility as they get sacrificed. We're sacrificing those to a Carrion Feeder to grow as it does. And also grow alongside it will be the Mortician Beetles and the Gixian Infiltrators every time we sacrifice a creature for the beetle or any permanent for the infiltrator, including treasures. We also have quite a few ways to draw cards: Deadly Disputes, Village Rites, and even a couple Corrupted Convictions in here to draw a bunch of cards. For utility, we have a couple Snuff Out to make sure that we have an answer to Broodscale. Reaping the Graves is a great kind of fair storm way to buy back a bunch of our creatures from our graveyard and replay them. And then Sylvac Lifestaff, every time a creature dies that is equipped to this, you gain 3 life. This is a really nice way to survive Kuldotha Red and Rakdos Burn. I've played one league so far with the Sylvac Lifestaff and really liked it. And I did make another change to this deck. I'm only playing 3 Reaping instead of 4. I'm only playing 3 Greedy Freebooters instead of 4, and I went up the 2 Corrupted Convictions. I feel like there was a good amount of card draw, but I wanted a little bit more, so we're trying to up that as much as we can and hopefully not flood out too much. Speaking of flooding out, we have a bunch of Swamps, Vaults of Whispers, which can be sacrificed to the Deadly Dispute, and we have 1 Dross Pits, which will ideally draw us cards without making us stumble too much because it enters tapped. It's also another permanent that can sacrifice to the Gixian Infiltrator, or rather just to pump the Infiltrator. For our sideboard, we have Rotten Reunion for Graveyard Disruption, a Cursed Marauder against Bogles, Mesmeric Fiend for any combo decks, Snuff Outs for Glee, Death's Head Buzzard for Go Wide, and 2 more Sylvac Lifestaff for any of those burn matchups. So let's take this into another league and see what we can do. Well, this hand looks honestly not even that great against mono red. We have 2 Lifestaffs, not really what we want, and not enough creatures to make this keepable. This one looks pretty good though. 2 Beetles, Infestation Sage, and some card draw. We're keeping 2 lands. Question is, do we want to get rid of a Beetle? I don't think so. I think we're going to get rid of one of these card draw spells. As much as I like card draw, I like Beetles more. So I think we'll get rid of the Conviction. Skyline Cascade. Enters tapped. Target creature and opponent controls doesn't untap. Not one I have seen since I was playing Battle for Zendikar Limited. What an amazing limited environment that was. Okay, so here we can just play a Sage. Next turn, Deadly Dispute it, maybe play a Beetle. I think with 3 of these guys, we just want to start going. So I think we put a Beetle down. Next turn, maybe I can Sage and Feeder, make this a 3/3. If this is some uninteractive matchup, like this could be a card in like Turbo Fog, maybe just some mono blue nonsense. I don't know what it could be. I think, what are the chances it's fairies with this weird card? It's throwing me off so much. Because if I play like a Sage and that gets countered, it's kind of rough. I think we're going to start with a Feeder. If it gets countered, I don't love it, but we do have 2 more ways to sacrifice creatures. And I'm doing this pre-combat. I'll play the Sage now, see if that gets countered. Doing this pre-combat just in case they have, if it's like Fae, maybe they have Brine Barrow or something similar, which makes it so that we have more protection on the Beetle. But they just take it. We're just going to deal them the 1. We have a lot of card draw from our creature, so I don't really want to sack our fodder until we are drawing cards off of it. They cycle a Lorien. Okay, that card I know. Looks like mono blue. It probably is just like Terror or Fairies, and they just happen to be playing this card, seeing if it's good enough. I think we're going to play a Beetle. I want to do this pre-combat, if we start sacking, we get counters on it as well. But we're going to attack with the lot. They're just going to damage. I could sack this for this guy, which makes an extra damage, but I think I just want to sack this to Deadly Dispute, which means it's the same amount of damage, and I don't really want to do it right now when they have Counterspell mana up, so we'll just hit them for 3, and then I'll pass. End step, they capsize the Carrion Feeder. Interesting. Hardcast Capsize, which makes me kind of think that they want us to not have a sacrifice outlet, so question is, do I just like dispute this? I could just get it bounced back. It's not terrible. But do I take this opportunity to Deadly Dispute our Sage? Yes, certainly. So we'll get counters on the Beetles, get our Bug and draw 2, make a treasure. A lot of stuff. Get a Snuff Out, and we could Village Rites here. I think we're just fine with this getting capsized. I kind of want to leave up a sack effect in case. Like, the main thing that I'm thinking with the capsize is maybe they have like an echoing return and they bounce both of these. Murmuring Mystic. Okay, we have a snuff out for that. They're tapped out, but they could have something for free. Foil or, I mean, with some weird card choices, they have me thinking like Snapback maybe, which is a free bounce spell. But we'll go to our turn, and another Village Rites is not bad. We're gonna just start by snuffing this out, see what's up. All right, so let me play a freebooter. I think we're just gonna sack that right away. It gives us our mana back, draws 2, and of course grows our beetles. With the right draws here, we could potentially win. I don't think we need another Village Rites, because we're at 7 damage, so we need 9 more, but a Carrion Feeder, or rather a Village Rites on this already puts us to 8, so we need 8 more. I think we're going to bottom that. Carrion Feeder and a Shambling Ghast. Ghast is not bad. Let's see, so we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, so we need 1 more guy, and we will have lethal. So let's sack the Ghast, treasure, 2 swamps, so yeah, just short of lethal, because we could sack the Carrion Feeders to themselves, just to make sure. Or 8, boom, 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 is 6 more, yeah, so I think we'll play these both out, just in case they have a way to get rid of 1. And since it's not lethal, I think we'll just keep our bug around for now. But yeah, just 1 more creature and we would have gotten there. They do have a snap. I think a 1/1 beetle in our hand doesn't do enough, that I think we're just going to sacrifice it. This grows our other beetle, grows our Carrion Feeder, and doesn't let them untap 2 mana. So like if they want to do that again, that's fine, but it's taking most of their turn. We'll sack this, and we have 5 damage, so still pretty close to lethal. They're going to pass, though. Another Village Rites is not bad. Well, they have to do something first here, otherwise we'll just win, so we're not going to take any actions other than attacking until they've made a move. And if they bounce this beetle, which is what I'm assuming, yeah, boomerang. Do I just sack it to go for 5 damage? Or I could Village Rites it. Doesn't give us the extra damage, but we just draw 2. I could just Village Rites it after combat, if we're gonna. We'll have to pay an extra mana for it, but that's fine. I think we'll just sacrifice it to the Village Rites. Not sure if that's correct, but I do like drawing 2 here. Ghast is fine. We'll hit for 4. I only have 2 cards left. And 3 life, so I think we'll just play a Ghast and pass back to them. If they get another Mystic down with the ability to cast even just 1 spell, it's going to be tough. There's a Terror. Okay, so it is kind of a mono blue Terror. Campfire in the main deck. Interesting. Gixian's not terrible, so if we play that, they're at virtual 5. They can block here. We can sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that'll be lethal. So I'm going to play this, swing with the crew. If they tap their Campfire to gain life, we should be able to get them. They would need the 1 mana like bounce spell. They block here, we're dealing 3 damage, so they have to act first. And they did not. They either saw that we were going to win either way, or they forgot to tap their Campfire. But if they had tapped their Campfire, we would have sacrificed the blocked Carrion Feeder and the Gixian to the untapped, or rather unblocked Carrion Feeder. That would have been 5 damage, so got there either way. Mono blue nonsense. Mystic makes me think Snuff Out's pretty important. Terror, similarly, makes me think that. It's possible a Marauder is worth it then, too, because this will, similar to the Snuff Out, kill a Marauder, not a Marauder, a Mystic, even if they have birds, and it'll kill a Terror. We didn't see anything else. They could certainly be playing Delvers and Cryptic Serpents, just like a mono blue Terror, but they clearly are pretty hard on the bounce plan. They had a Boomerang, a Capsize. That might have been it. I can't remember if there was a 3rd bounce spell. But there was the land that taps a creature, or keeps it tapped, rather. We don't need the life staffs in this one, so that's an easy remove. Don't think we want to go down threats. Reaping the Graves feels good here if they have a lot of counter spells, although we didn't see many, but I'm sure they're playing them in a mono blue deck. So I think we'll trim a Freebooter and a Conviction. I don't want to go down 2 Freebooters because then we might not have enough fodder for all of our draw spells, so we'll go down 1 of each. This way we have 6 removal spells for their important threats. This hand looks pretty solid. We are going to start on a feeder. This is definitely a match where Reaping could be really good. It's hard to counter because Storm, each instance is a different spell, so they have to counter them individually. They play a lot of reactive spells, so it's possible that they'll play out on our turn, in which case the Reaping will be even bigger. And also if they counter and kill our creatures in combat along the way, then the Reaping will be just have a lot of creatures to get back. So Looks like it could be really good. We already have 3 lands for it, too. 4. I'm good not drawing any more lands, though. Let's play out a Link Breaker, in case they want to counter this. With the Reaping, I want to be a little more liberal with sacrificing my fodder. And if they're mostly playing Terrors and Murmuring Mystics as threats, then I also want to be more aggressive in my attacking. With both of those things true, I think I'm sacking both of these to get more counters here. Then again, they could just have a Boomerang. So I don't want to go too hard. So maybe we just sack 1 for now. I think that's fine. If they Boomerang here, I lost a little bit of value, but I don't want to sack 2, certainly not 3 or 4, and then just get it Boomeranged, because then we lose way too much tempo. End step, they cycle a Lorien Revealed for another island. They also have a Capsize, which means that if they get to 6 mana, we're going to be in trouble. We're drawing more lands, which I do not prefer. I think we're just going to attack for 4 here, see if they want to do anything. If they bounce like a feeder here, we'll just replay it. And I don't think we have enough creatures in our grave yet to warrant holding up the Reaping, but next turn we can. And then if they, build up Storm at all, we can sacrifice these 2. They do bounce the feeder at the end step, so they don't want it coming back down. There's no reason to sacrifice itself because we don't have any bonuses from that, so we'll just take it back in hand. That's fine. If we had a couple Mortician Beetles out, we might sacrifice it to itself just to get some counters. Speaking of, there's a Beetle. That's not bad. Let's just swing for 3 and do 11. So I'm playing the Carrion Feeder and probably the Beetle. Depends on if something gets countered here. 4 mana for a Power Sink. Counter it unless its controller pays 3. If that player doesn't, they tap all lands with mana abilities they control and lose all unspent mana. That is a very interesting card. It was 4 mana and I do have 3, and I'm happy to let this to pay it to keep our Carrion Feeder, so we will pay for it. Not a card I've seen before, and I gotta say I understand why. Doesn't seem that powerful there, but they did get us to tap out, which was the idea. For each creature's controller sacrifices a permanent of their choice unless they pay 1, so that's why. Interesting. So yeah, they get us to tap out with the Power Sink, and then we can't pay for this, but we sacrifice. Sage comes back. No reason to sacrifice Carrion to itself. I can sack a land or 2 here as well. Maybe not too many because we have the Reaping the Grave, so maybe I'll sack 1 land to keep the Carrion Feeder, and then I'll lose the other 3. I think that's okay. So I can't pay anything, so I have to sacrifice 4 permanents. Boom, boom, boom. I wish I could sack the treasure I get from this. We'll do that. Kind of cool. Not insanely powerful. Corrupted Conviction, I think I like, especially because we got the Reaping to buy back all our guys. So I could do Beetle, Conviction, and then Reaping this turn for 3. That's not terrible. Let's just attack for 2 first. I don't think we are going off this turn, not in a crazy way. So I'm just going to play Beetle first. I could just wait till their turn in case they do anything wacky. I think that's fine, actually. If they cast a spell or 2, I can Reaping for a little bit more. If they don't, that's fine. I'll just Conviction this Insect token. If they counter it, then we get Reaping for 3, so that's not bad either. Or we just get to draw 2. Okay. Good, our turn. Link Breaker, another Carrion Feeder. Play the Link Breaker, play a Feeder. Just have some things to sacrifice if we want to. We'll swing for 3 here. We're going to snap the Beetle. That untaps. We have a Storm of 3, so I'm definitely going to Reaping this turn, and we only have 3 creatures in our grave, so I'm happy to sacrifice this to our Feeder, because we'll get it right back. And also I want them to stay tapped low. So if I hit for 2, I could sacrifice this Link Breaker to make it 3. We're getting back a bunch of guys. I'm going to do that. If it spurs them to Boomerang this, then we're going to get another guy back too. And if not, we just hit for 3, which feels good. All right, that's solid. And we're Reaping for 4. Get back the Beetle. I think with this one, we're just getting back the ones that make extra creatures. So Sage, Link Breakers. I think that's good. And I think we'll play the Beetle out so that it can attack next turn. If they counter, that's fine. They have a Force Spike. I mean, that's kind of funny. They got me. Real good. They have a Rhystic Study. What a card to see in Pauper. That's pretty hilarious. We have 5 mana, so we can play out 2 of these without giving them a card. That should be enough for either of these to be lethal, so I think that's fine. Let's play a Link Breaker. We are certainly going to be paying. This card is busted in multiplayer. It is not that good in 1v1. At least not in my experience, which, to be fair, I don't think I've seen it in 1v1 before. Mercenary up this feeder. Just in case I want to sack this, this will be an extra damage this way. We'll attack. They're going to Echoing Truth this one, which would bounce them both, but we will just sacrifice this one to this one so that it won't bounce them both. And then we will sacrifice, since they're tapped out, up to 6 power here. All right, we were able to take match 1 against this interesting Rhystic mono blue deck. All right, on the play here with no lands, 3 lands. This is keepable. We'll put back one of our swamps. Opponent also mulligans. We can start with the feeder if we want to go aggro. If it dies right away, it's kind of bad, so I think we'll just play Ghast. Forest, okay. Deadly Dispute. Forest generally means less interaction, whether it's Brood Scale or Ramp or Elves or Walls. Usually not a ton of interaction out of a Forest start. We'll swing for 1. We're going to get the feeder down and the freebooter. Could be Dredge as well. That's another one that's not super interactive, and they cycle a troll on the end step. That's why I could feel it coming. Malevolent Rumble. It's a giant, Ent, Mutt, and Exhume. So they got to take one of these 3, none of which are great for them to have in hand. I guess Mutt's fine, and Ent's fine if they need another land. So yeah, they choose the Mutt. We get a Deadly Dispute. No, we already had that. We get a Swamp. I can Deadly Dispute this Ghast to pick off the Eldrazi spawn. I mean, that really all that does is prevent them from playing like a Dread Return on turn 3, which would be decent to prevent. We're going to play our Sage and swing. They don't block. We're going to pump up the Carrion Feeder for an extra damage, hit for 4. I could also just sack the Freebooter. I think we're fine to get rid of the Dispute. This is either going to chump, not the Dispute, the Ghast. I can't speak. This is either going to chump at some point or just give them mana. So I think I'm okay picking it off. Reaping and a Nezumi Linkbreaker. 2 creatures in our graveyard. Can obviously make it 4. I could hold this for Storm. I think we might want to be getting in for as much damage as possible, though. Quickly as possible, because if they had a Nod to the Bone, they get to survive a lot longer. And they're not going to be playing stuff on our turn. I think it's fine to play this out. They're not usually going to play things on our turn except for like a Nod to the Bone, which means that our Storm's only going to be 2 max on our turn. If we only have mana to spend for 2, which means it's about the same as if we just put it on their turn, because they're going to probably get a Storm of at least 1, and so I think it's fine to do it this way. They cycle an Ent for a Forest, and they have the Mutt. Let's see the Stinkweed Imp. They don't have an Imp, they have an Acorn Harvest. There's another Sage. I think we're going to play it. Attack. If we want to play Reaping on their turn, we can just sack the Freebooter to get us the treasure to do so. They're going to take it, so we're going to make it an extra 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could make it if I sack this and the guy that comes from it. I think the 7's fine for now. I could Reaping for 2, but I can't play anything this turn, so we might as well just pass to them. They cast a Stinkweed Imp. That can block the feeder and trade for it. I could get back a Shambling Ghast on the end step, which can shrink the Stinkweed Imp so that they can't kill the feeder. It could also just shrink the Mutt so they have 1 fewer blocker, which would mean I'd have 4 attackers. I mean, I think we're Reaping now or on our turn, and this gets us a Scry, so I think we'll do it on this end step. Another Link Breaker, which I already have access to from our grave. We're going to pick up Shambling Ghast and maybe this Freebooter. Maybe just a Sage. I don't think this is what we need. Reaping for 2, Ghast, and Sage is another flyer. So sure, we'll go for a Sage. Get those back. We draw Ghast. Hey, that can ping down the Stinkweed, which means they have to chump here. Or I could just ping this down, and then if they block chump, I shrink this. That's about the same thing. We're getting in for 3 damage. I mean, we're just playing out our guys and swinging, I think. Don't think there's a reason to do much else. Block here, block the Link Breaker. So I kind of want that to trade. So I just sack a Ghast here to keep our Carrion Feeder alive and hit for 2. Yeah, it seems okay. Next turn, I mean, if they just buy back Stinkweed and play it, which they do buy it back, if they just play it, then we have 5 damage just from our other guys. They're playing Chitin Gravestalker as well, which is good to know. Hit another Stinkweed Imp. They have 7 creatures in grave. No Nod to the Bones yet. They do have a Nod to the Bone from hand. I mean, 14 life is a lot. Don't think we're going to be able to kill through that. But let's do as much damage as we can. Sacking the Sage for an extra 1 here. Insect can attack. Good news is if that's all they have, they kind of have to do it again next turn because we can hit for 11 here. I guess they could buy back the Stinkweed Imp and play that, and they might not be dead. We're gonna hit for 11 though, and Snuff Out was not a great draw. Pretty useless in this match. They do also have another Stinkweed that they dredged, so now they have 19 or 18 life from this Knot of the Bone, which they're just gonna do right now. Another Swamp. Yeah, Knot of the Bone is tough. I mean, we don't have a crazy slow clock by any means, but it just gives them a couple extra turns that's gonna make things difficult. Scrapwork Mutt. I can snuff that out, so it can't block this turn. They're just going for the Stinkweed. They do. They've found a couple Dread returns. They dredge this turn, yeah, so they can't have a land here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage, so we need 5 more. I could snuff this out for life, or rather for mana now, because the 4 life could matter if they reanimate for a little bit less. I could also Shambling Ghast it down, but I want the damage, and Shambling Ghast can actually interact with like a Stinkweed Imp. I think we'll just cast this. If we get like a Deadly Dispute into the right cards, we could get there on lethal here. Life Staff is not a bad draw. Life is relevant against them. It's not going to be lethal though, but we'll put it on this insect. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 if we sack the mercenary. So attack for a bunch here. And do I think it's important to sacrifice this and then move the life staff to gain more life? They're at 13 creatures in yard. I'm at 20, and I can go up to 23. If they have another Knot of the Bone, they're going to gain 26. So every creature we have is relevant there. I think we're going to just hope they don't have another Knot of the Bone and can't get there. Well, there it is. I mean, still good that we didn't sack our guy, I guess. Swamp doesn't do it. I mean, they buy a whole bunch of turns again. Luckily, they didn't develop their mana well enough before that it's really all they can do. But it is gaining them quite a bit more than we were dealing this turn. So yeah, they don't even have to play it here. They can just play their Stinkweed. Drawing Swamps is not where we want to be. And they have another Stinkweed in hand. But we're going to swing for some damage here. We block the Carrion. We're going to keep it alive with this Ghast. Hit for 5. I guess we kind of knew we were going to do that, so maybe we should have put the Life Staff on the Ghast to gain 3. We would have hit for 1 less, but the life is probably more important. They dredge again. Still 14 creatures in grave, so not a ton. They Gnaw to the Bone again. Yep, responsibly. Gnaw responsibly. Nezumi Linkbreaker. I don't think... they're at 42. I don't think that's quite going to cut it. We will move this over here and then sacrifice this to gain 3 life. And then... don't think we're going again, so let's just put it back here and swing. So hit for 13 down to 29. We're getting there. They don't dredge. They do just have another Stinkweed Imp, which is going to start being problematic if we don't find another answer for it, because Carrion Feeder is the bulk of our damage. Another Swamp. So we can buff up our 2 insects, attack for 6. If we attack the feeder, it just trades, and that seems bad. So yeah, guess we'll just swing with the insects. Buzz, buzz. They play a Rumble, finally something that's not a Gnaw or a Stinkweed Imp. They get a Troll, they can finally get their 4th land. It's a basic Swamp, that's not interesting. Maybe they Exhume here. Nope, just gonna pass it back. We get a Deadly Dispute, I mean that's what we've been waiting on. We're just gonna get rid of this Vault. I mean, not quite what we've been waiting on. We're gonna buff up an insect, sack that Mercenary. Another Corrupted Conviction. I don't think we might need another Feeder. I guess we're gonna buff up this insect and sack this Mercenary. There's a Beetle after we've done all our sacking. Well, we will swing with our 6 in the air. We sacked all our mercenaries, so these 2 bugs are going to stop being able to attack past this Stinkweed Imp, unfortunately. But we'll play these and pass. I could have equipped the life staff before I sacked the mercenaries. I wanted to make sure I had the mana to play whatever I drew, because if we got a Reaping or something, it was going to be pretty mana intensive. Then again, they are at 17 creatures now. They don't dredge, but they do Exhume. Sure. And that's going to hit us for 16 here if they get a Lotleth Giant. We're going to get a Shambling Ghast. Is that good enough now? Or just a Sage? I think we'll go for the Ghast. They do go for a Giant. Oh, and then they can Dread return another Giant. So we can sack, gain 3 life, but that's just about it. Or they just have another Exhume. I guess we die. What a match. Okay, we get to take out Snuff Outs and the Life Staffs, which were not very good. We get 3 Rotten Reunions. Mesmeric Fiend is not good in this match, unfortunately. They're a combo, but they are not combo from the hand. One Death's Head Buzzard isn't bad, though, I think, because we can wipe a lot of their chump blockers. Even just shrinking the Stinkweed Imp, like we've seen, could be pretty good. So I think that's okay. It's possible the Life Staff could have been okay if we were a little bit more diligent with sacrificing things with it on there. If we had gained 9 more, then we could have survived that Lotleth Giant, but they also had Dread Returns in their graveyard with at least 3 creatures, so they could have just gone for another Lotleth Giant, so it's just not going to matter. This one's a little flooded, and we're going to get really screwed if we draw more lands, but a Beetle on turn 1, Sage and draw 2 seems okay. They play a tap land, we get a Ghast. Do I just want to play Ghast, sack it, get a Sage down? I think we can just play the Sage, sack it. Yes, always yield, draw 2. And then swing for 2. Gixion's not bad. These Ghasts can be a lot of treasures, so that can grow pretty quickly. We will need another sack outlet at some point, though. They have a Rumble. Finds a Giant, a land, or a Grudge. So we're going to need to not play this Vault of Whispers until we can sack it. Choose the Forest. If they sack their spawn... Oh, well, Deadly Dispute's pretty good. I don't think we're playing that this turn, though. We're just playing out Gixion Shambling to go as aggro as we can. If they sack the spawn, it'll grow our Beetle, which is a little incidental value. Just taking it this turn. Lay these out and pass. They have a Stinkweed Imp. Shambling Ghast can prevent that from killing one of our guys for a turn. Another Ghast. I could also just pick off the spawn. No, if they want to replay this, I think that's fine. So we'll play one of these. I'll swing with the team. They block the Beetle. We'll sack the... We shouldn't have sacked the attacking Ghast, I'll tell you that much. That was a mistake. Should have sacked the other one, because we would have gotten in for another damage. Got a Reaping the Graves. I could sack this treasure for 1 more from this Infiltrator. But this Reaping makes us kind of want to have it. I think it's fine. And I'll play a Vault, because we've got a couple more lands. If they want to spend their turn Ancient Grudging this, that's okay by me, I think. And spend their turn, I mean 1 mana, but if they also play out a Stinkweed Imp, they would need another untapped land, or they'd need to sack the spawn, so I think it's just decent to put a little strain on them when we don't really need the land that badly. They don't Dredge, so do they just have another one? No, they have a Wayfinder. Finds another Ancient Grudge, Dread Return. They choose a Swamp over this Chitin Gravestalker. Blanchwood. I guess this one doesn't reveal, does it? 2 Stinkweeds and a Lotleth Giant. Well, they're getting a lot of the cards they need. Death's Head Buzzard wouldn't be great because we don't have a sack outlet, but if we did, that'd be good. So I guess a Dispute or a Feeder, another land. I can buy back a Sage and a Shambling Ghast. I guess we'll play out this Ghast and swing with the team. Everything here at least trades for something. The Infiltrator, if they just block here, will sack our treasure. They do. So treasure grows it. And I'm just going to go for the Reaping because we're on the aggro plan. Try to kill them before they can stabilize here. So I think I just want to play these both out. We're going to lose 2 creatures here. Take a couple more damage, and we're going pretty wide. So really need a Carrion Feeder to get this going really well, because then we can start Gatling Gunning down... Gastling Gunning. Nailed it. Gastling Gunning down their blockers, and just getting a lot of other stuff. They Dredge, get a Dread Return. They Dread Return a Lotleth Giant. They're going for a couple baby ones. Hit for 8. I mean, that still hurts quite a bit. Carrion Feeder's great. So we can ping off an Eldrazi spawn. Attack. They block here. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we can sack the Infiltrator and the Carrion Feeder. So this should be lethal. Definitely need to sack this first so that the Beetle gets through, because it's going to be the damage we need. They're even going to sack it because they don't realize, well, they want to cycle a Genercent. That's fine. That's an extra damage from the Beetle, which shouldn't matter here, but could be relevant at some point. Swing with the team, block here, and this is actually just 9 damage right there. So we'll just go to damage. Boom. Nice game. Didn't even need our sideboard cards. I would love them in game 3, especially since we're on the play. Or rather the draw, the bad one. But yeah, just have a relatively fast start there was pretty good. 2 Carrion Feeders, Shambling Ghast, Nezumi, and we have a Rotten Reunion. I think we're keeping this one. We get a Carrion Feeder down early. Ghast can gain us a 2nd mana if we need. Reunion we're going to hold up for something key. Probably not hold it up for the first few turns, obviously. Another Ghast. See what they cycle. An Ent. Gets a Haunted Mire. I like that. That means probably nothing this turn. Nice. Another Swamp's great. So I get to play... I wish this was a Mortician Beetle so bad. I think we just play a Link Breaker and a Ghast. Swing with the Feeder. They're going to cycle another Ant. We're going to sacrifice the Link Breaker and just do that. Leave up Ghast, which we can sacrifice to Rotten Reunion at any point. So if they go for like an Exhume here, well, I guess it doesn't matter because they have 2 creatures now. If they go for a targeted spell, or maybe if they mill over a Gnaw to the Bone, which we saw was pretty problematic game 1, they do have an Exhume. This doesn't target, though, so I can't actually get rid of both of these. So it's fine. We'll get back our Link Breaker. We can actually outscale that pretty quickly here, I think. Maybe we're okay. Village Rites isn't bad, although we want to be sacking to this Carrion Feeder. So 1, 2, 3... Well, this is 3 damage, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, plus we have the Ghasts. I think we're just playing these out. Pump here and attack. I guess we can swing with these two, because if they want to block, we can just sack them and deal a bunch, so that's fine. They block a Shambling Ghast, so we're gonna sacrifice that for a treasure. So we have Village Rites and Rotten Reunion. We hit for a bit and then pass. If they go for another Exhume here, we can Rotten Reunion, although if they have like another cycle in response, they'll still get it. Dread Return, we'd be able to get interrupt though since it targets. They have a Wayfinder. That hits a Gnaw to the Bone, Ancient Grudge, a Wayfinder. They get a Troll in hand. Prowler. So we can take out the Gnaw to the Bone. They have another Gnaw to the Bone. We can take them both out if we need to. Currently it's only 6 life. We can go to our turn. Swamp. We have a Shambling Ghast. So I could Village Rites a Ghast, get a treasure, draw 2. Reaping them both back, play them again. We're not growing more than just 1 creature, which is easily chumpable. I could pick this off. I might need to get rid of both of those rights, or the Gnaw to the Bones. So it just gains them a lot. We're definitely attacking with this turn. I think we're going to Village Rites this Ghast and pick off the Wayfinder, because we don't want them to have creatures, of course. Okay, 2 more guys. Maybe we can go for a Reaping next turn, so we can gnaw one card away. Play a Link Breaker. If I play a Link Breaker here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can definitely attack with this. Probably jump with a Blanchwood. If I don't do it, it's still 4, 1, 2, 3. And they double block, and it's kind of awkward. So yeah, I think we have to Link Breaker. Oh, I could Freebooter. This lets me double Rotten, which lets me... That's 4, 8... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would survive these. All right, let's Freebooter. Pump the Carrion. Attack. They block with the Blanchwood, so that's fine. Now Gnaw is 5, so I gotta go for it now, because they gain so much life, I think, right? Or do we just wait and keep making them chump? Well, I think I could also Storm for 3. I don't think I need to do that. If I do that, get them all back next turn. Ugh. I think I'm gonna pass. This is a really tough turn. Right now I have double Rotten Reunion up. I also have a Reaping the Graves. So if they just go for like Ancient Grudge, Gnaw to the Bone, I can Reaping. That's fine. They're going to start with a Gravestalker. Yeah, I guess that's a reason. I mean, we weren't taking out creatures anyway, so that's fine. 5, 4. Stinkweed Imp. Okay, that's annoying. Ugh, their blockers are so problematic. They do go for the Ancient Grudge on the treasure, though, which means we have Storm of 4, so we can get back to these 2 Ghasts and these Link Breaker and Freebooter, so that's not bad. I guess we want to spread out some of these counters. So let's sack this, scry 1, Gixie in. We're gonna get back all of these with, yeah, we want a Gixie in for sure. Sack this, sack this, sack this. Reaping for 4, get back the whole lot. And that wasn't too bad. We can kind of storm off with the Ghasts if we want, also growing this Infiltrator, which means we have 2 big attackers. One of them just gets eaten by a Stinkweed, though. And then they get it back. So I don't think we're going to attack this turn because it would give them a Stinkweed again. So I think we're going to go for a big turn next turn, which means I could just leave up Rotten Reunion. I don't think we want to do that, though. Well, I think I want to leave up Rotten Reunion through a Freebooter and then go for the big attacks next turn. All right, this is what we're doing. Next turn, we can attack with 3 enormous creatures. Well, this one's going to be enormous. The one that hasn't been growing this whole time. These are going to both be pretty big. Another Prowler. Troll and 2 Scrapwork Mutts. They only have 1 card in hand, and it's, I think, this Troll, right? Gnaw to the Bone for 8. Can't really do anything about that. We could get rid of one, but that's not a big deal. So I think we'll just leave it, and they gain some life. We can maybe take out the second one before they go for another one. All right, this turn, what do we do? Vault is not bad, just for more mana. So we can play out all of these. We can ping down the Stinkweed Imp with this Shambling Ghast if we want, which means we get to attack with the rest, which is fine. Okay, that seems good. We're also under 5 minutes, so we gotta play a little faster. And we can Mercenary up. Oh, we gotta do this pre-combat though, to ping down the Stinkweed. So let's do that, growing these equally. Ping down Stinkweed, grow these, and attack. We still have a Rotten Reunion up. I gotta go for like a double block to really put a dent in us, I think. We didn't do the math because you know what they say, but I know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expendable creatures here. Ooh, they're triple blocking this guy. So 7 expendables, which means this will go up to a 12 or a 11, 10. It's taking 12 damage, but we also get a treasure, so that's another one. We'd have to sacrifice a Rotten Reunion could get us another one. So that'd be 12. We can't kill them here, surely. No, because these aren't both growing. So I guess 11 is what we want to take out these. I could just kill these two. Well, we're definitely sacking Freebooter. Well, we're definitely sacking Link Breakers. Let's start with those. So this is enough to have this trade for these two. 5, 6, 7 more would not keep it alive unless we sack a feeder, and I don't think that's where we want to be just because they get the Stinkweed Imp back and it blocks. So I think trading for these two is fine. I could also actually I could get rid of the Stinkweed Imp. That might actually be okay. And then we have this one enormous creature. Oh gosh, I think that's what we're doing. Greedy Fruit Brooder, Mortician Beetle. We're not going to have anything left after this, so I don't think we want this. Actually, I should go all in on one of these at this point if we're going to end up sacking one of them. So let's do that. Black keeps the still alive. Rotten Reunion, the Stinkweed Imp. They can gain more life. That's fine. And then sacrifice this, and that's 12, so it'll still die. 13. It does trade with all of these, but we want it to survive, so we will sacrifice this Carrion Feeder. I think 2 giant creatures that both grow is better when they don't have a Stinkweed Imp than 2 big creatures that have to fight over resources. We know they have a Troll in hand, so if they get a land, they can play it. If they don't get a land, they can Scrapwork Mutt. They can Gnaw to the Bone, so they're not dead yet by any means, because this gains them another 22. They have a food token, so they can go up by 25. But they don't have that many things to do. And we have a 14, 13, and a 12, 12. So I think this was our best play. It was tough, a tough call to make. We're down to 2 minutes, so we got to play fast. But I think we made the right call. Had to sack everything for it. They're going to Scrapwork Mutt. Been a Swamp, which was their draw, so they didn't want to go with a Troll, which is fair because it would just have to chump and wouldn't get anything. They at least get a new draw this way. They only have 1 red, though, which is nice, so they can't double Scrapwork. They could just Gnaw now, which they do. So they're not dead yet, unless we get crazy draws here. Another Infiltrator isn't bad. We also have a Reunion from the grave. I don't think we need to use that now because all they have is a Scrapwork Mutt, which is a activated ability, which if I recall correctly, turn this we can respond to. So we can make them spend their mana first and then get rid of it, which we're going to make them do for sure. And if they have a Gnaw to the Bone after that, that's pretty good, but this is going to try to prevent that from happening. Get the Scrapwork Mutt. And they concede. Nice. That was a close one. Always terrifying when you have to sacrifice your entire board to go all in one creature, or in this case, 2 creatures. But you can see it worked out. Sacrificing, I think it was 7 creatures, a treasure, an 8th creature because of the Rotten Reunion, and then one of the feeders itself. So 9 creatures and a treasure in order to keep the Infiltrator alive was crazy, but ended up working out for the best. We have a okay hand here. If we're against red, the life sap's great. Even if we're not, Ghast Feeder and Conviction seems reasonable. So I think, I could be wrong, I think Bokina plays a lot of red. Maybe not, though. Elves. I think they also play a lot of Elves. But maybe I'm conflating those two. Shambling Ghast is decent here, but we don't have a ton of removal, which is not great. So we could definitely get crushed here. Let's see what they go with. I'll lead the Stampede right off the bat. We can pick off this Elf with the Ghast this turn. They do get Birchlore, Titania, Nyxborn, so it's possible I just want to save this for the Priest. Yeah, because they just play Birchlore, Titania, and that's worth at least 2 mana. So Link Breaker and Corrupted Conviction this turn. Shambling Gas could slow them down if they only have 2 lands, but I just don't think we can afford to spend it on that. So I think we're going to Corrupted Conviction, draw 2 here. Or do I just go for the 2 damage, or 3 damage even? I think we need card draw, so let's go for that first, see what we're working with. Infestation Sage, okay. We get to attack in for 1. Do I want to sack this Mercenary? Yeah, I think as soon as they get like a 1/2 down, which who knows if they will, but I think having just like a bigger Carrion Feeder that at least forces them to start chumping is better. Have the land. 4 mana for Birch Lore, Nettle Sentinel, another Birch Lore. Oh, Sentinel untaps. Timberwatch, yeah. We need a Snuff Out or another Ghast to take that guy out, or we're pretty much just dead, I think. Freebooter, no card draw here. I think we're just going to die to this instantly. I mean, they don't currently have any Quirion Rangers, so maybe they can't untap it. We do know that they have a Nyxborn, which isn't coming out till the following turn, probably. So I guess without the Priest, maybe without the Priest, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana for Nyxborn, which is only +4. So I still think we wait to kill the Priest. So we play these out, and life doesn't really matter for us. Not in a sad, depressing way. I guess we'll sacrifice this. Another feeder we don't need, so that we can play this life staff as an extra damage. That's pretty much all we got. I think they'll take 4 gladly. Pass the turn. This does make me really happy we have Death's Head Buzzard in the sideboard. That's a little bit more removal. Of course, Snuff Outs are coming in as well. But like Marauders are not great here because they have so many random guys to sack. They're swinging with these 2. I will block the 1/1. If they want to pump the 1/1 and we don't take the damage, that's fine. I'll trade off. They have a Priest, Jasper Sentinel, and a Masked Vandal. I mean, that's fine. The life staff's not that relevant. They did get their value. I guess Timberwatch makes it so we can't pick this off. And then we just die to a Nyxborn. So I think that's game. I don't see... We also drew a land, so... We were fighting for our life. A land was not going to cut it. Life staff out. We get these 4 in. This is almost one where I want a Mesmeric Fiend. They are kind of a combo deck. Some people might think that's controversial, but ask yourself, what is Elves if not a combo deck? It's not an aggro deck. It plays a lot of small creatures, but its goal is not to attack with them. Not until it has assembled its pieces, which is a Nyxborn Hydra that's enormous, or a Timberwatch Elf that can pump for enormous amounts and also untap and things like that. So it's really a combo deck. So I think Fiends aren't bad. Also, just taking a lead to Stampede or something isn't terrible. They have no removal. Reaping isn't only for removal decks because we can also just use it to storm off with our own guys, but I don't think this one's super relevant for this. I guess Reaping's great with Mesmeric Fiend. So maybe we take out some freebooters then. This is another match. I tried a couple leagues ago. Trample with Deviant Glee, not sadistically. This is another match that I think Trample would be really good in, and we don't have that in this version. So still not sure if that's something we need. Maybe it's important enough in certain matchups that we would want to sideboard it. But for now, it's not anywhere in the 75. I think we cut like this, and we hope we get there. Death's Head is going to be important. We drew 1, plus a Mesmeric, and Deadly Disputes. This one looks good. We don't have a Carrion Feeder, so the Mesmeric Fiend is going to be a little late, but even just a Death's Head on 3, and then Deadly Disputing it could be pretty good. Of course, if we can't do these in the same turn, or rather play this and sack in the same turn, it's going to be very telegraphed, which I don't like, because they can kind of maybe make some ways to make it not hurt as much, but we do get to just play the Link Breaker turn 1, Dispute at turn 2, and that can hopefully set us up to like Fiend on 3. We have a Birch Lore, another Dispute. Annoying thing here is that they could have a Masked Vandal with the Vault of Whispers to take it out. So I might want to leave up Deadly Dispute for it. But, well, I think we're going to leave it up because we don't want to use this treasure anyway. I don't think because they didn't play a mana dork here, I don't think they can really do it because they would need a creature in their graveyard before going for it. Priest of Titania, okay. Death's Head looks decent. Even just taking out these 2, it wouldn't be terrible. We're going to sack. They didn't attack, which is smart because we could have blocked here. They have a counter spell, Spell Pierce, okay. I know Elves plays like a rainbow sideboard, but still wasn't expecting the Spell Pierce there. So It's a little annoying because we can just play a Mesmeric Fiend, but that seems bad. Or we can play the Death's Head Buzzard, which doesn't seem terrible, because next turn I could Deadly Dispute the Mercenary, Deadly Dispute the Buzzard, but it just shows them what's going on. They're not going to play any more 1/1s, which I guess is fine. They could spend the mana that they get from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't have a ton of mana. They could spend that to pump up one of these. So I could just wait and Deadly Dispute the Mercenary token, but then we don't have disputes for both of these. Plus, we don't for sure have enough mana to Death's Head the following turn. Yeah, tough call. Attack for 1 here. I think we gotta do this as a surprise. So I'm gonna Deadly Dispute the Mercenary while they're tapped out. Ghast is not bad. We're gonna play Ghast. Can't sack it. Drew our 4th Deadly Dispute. So Ghast with the Buzzard can maybe pick off a next 2. They have an Elvish Vanguard. I wish I had a sack for this right now. They have a Well-Wisher. Okay. I guess we need a 1-mana sack or another land to be able to Death's Head, but we need to take this all out. And I'll lead the Stampede. Man, I wish I had a Village Rites. Elvish and a Nyxborn. No 1-drop. Okay. If we get a land here, we can play the Death's Head, Deadly Dispute, and wipe their whole board. That would be very good. Snuff Out's not bad either. I wish we had the Buzzard, though, because I can play it. I can sack the Actually, I can Deadly Dispute the Ghast, and if we still draw the land, if I make a treasure here, I could still go for it. But then I don't have the -1/-1 from this for the Vanguard. It's still good enough. I could also just Mesmeric Fiend this turn and sack it and take their Hydra. If I Deadly Dispute the Ghast and I go for treasure and I don't draw, then all we have is a Snuff Out. We still don't have the Buzzard. But I get the treasure next turn, I can finally do it for sure. I can Snuff Out whatever's most important and then I can wait for the others. Okay, well, we'll attack for 1. We will Deadly Dispute this. Create a treasure. Didn't get the land. So I can Mesmeric Fiend and Deadly Dispute it. That uses up all our treasure. I can play Gixian Infiltrator, 2. And then next turn, I go for a Buzzard, sacking some of these, and then I Deadly Dispute it. This outgrows that. Wipe most of their board. Okay, I think that seems okay. So do I Snuff Out an Elvish Vanguard because it's going to survive? Do I just wait until they Nyxborn Hydra for a bunch? Probably. We're going to play an Infiltrator and pass. This has just been so awkward. If we drew that 1 land or anything, like Death's Head is going to be so good, but it's definitely been an awkward draw for us. There's a Vanguard, which also if this Vanguard grows, which I assume it will, then it's going to survive as well. Distant Melody, well that's terrible. We can kill 1 creature, but they're still going to draw 4. I think we'll kill 1 though. Vanguard, since it's going to be the biggest. And all these, well, this is going to survive too, but these are going to die to the death. I think we're going to do that. I think getting rid of 1 card of theirs is pretty good. Maybe they have another counterspell because we know they only have Nyxborn. They just tap for a blue. Fair enough. They draw 4. Forest. Sentinel survives against the Buzzard. Play some more 1/1s, please. It's a 1/2. Not what I asked for. And another lead the Stampede. I mean, their luck's got to run out at some point, right? Not today. That's enough to rebuild even after we wipe their board. Not that we're even going to be killing most of these. There's a Ranger. Well, that lets them tap the Priest this turn. I guess it dies to the Buzzard too, but okay. Birchlore. That's crazy. They have another Distant Melody. Timberwatch. Why not? That's it. That's all. They're going to pass. Discard 4 forests. Carrion Feeder. Way too late. I mean, we can still do the Buzzard, which is still good. They'll be left with 4 creatures, though. We don't have a better play, though. We're still just doing this. Deadly Dispute it. Shrink the board. Draw 2. We get another one. I mean, that would be nice if we could do it all in 1 turn. I guess I just play down a Beetle. We're still just going to lose. Pretty annoying. Attack for 5. Just 1 more land earlier would have wiped this up. Mopped this up. There's a Priest. There's a Well-Wisher. Attack for 8. I got a block because this is +6. That's only 14. I guess I don't got a block. And I will choose not to do so. Another Beetle. I mean, I can Carrion Feeder Mesmeric Fiend to take a card from their hand. But they can give something +6 so they can block anything. Can't Buzzard again. It doesn't really matter if I could. Then they're going to Nyxborn us next turn. We're super dead. Pretty frustrating. This hand looks pretty good. We're going to keep. No card draw, but Feeder and Infiltrator to grow, and a bunch of guys to help them get there. Looks like White Weenie, potentially. I think that means I'm fine to Carrion Feeder first. They could just Thraben Charm it. That's fine. We do have a Deadly Dispute that we just drew, and that seems pretty aggressive from them. They're going to swing for 1. Might mean like a Skyfisher coming, bringing this guy back to hand, or maybe just play another one. Fiend's Informant. Pitch a Plains, which is nicer than seeing a Prismatic Strands. They also mulligan to 6, which is showing, and only 3 cards left already. We get a Life Staff. That's not bad for this matchup, because life does matter. Not as important as mono red. This is also only a 2/1, so I can just play a Ghast, pick it off if I want. I think I can wait on that, though. I think we can just play a Gixian. Do I think they'll trade this for this? Possibly. I don't think it's worth the 1 damage. This is going to grow a lot. So we're just going to play the Infiltrator, hope they don't kill either of these, and then pass. But if these both survive, then next turn we're going to be in a good spot. And they crack a Clue, which is interesting. It feels like if they had a Plains, they would just play it and crack the Clue later. If they didn't have a Plains, why did they pitch their 3rd one? Okay, they just passed to us. Battening down the hatches. So now Swamp's good. I think we just play these 3 out, pick off their Informant, and then swing for the faces? Yeah, I mean, we're swinging for their faces, but swing for the fences is what I meant to say. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Pick off the 2/1 just to get it out of the way, get our aggression going quicker, and attack. They can chomp, but if they don't, we can deal them 9 damage here and still have these guys left over. The guys coming from them, that is. And we want to get in for as much damage as we can when they don't have 3 mana up, because that's Prismatic Strands mana. So 9, I mean, I could put it to 13, but I think that's a little overkill. Since we have this Deadly Dispute in hand, we'll just do 9 for now. Seems good. Grange grows their Inspector a little bit. And they have a Battle Screech. Okay. They can flash that back. Leaves them with 2 blockers, which blocks these nicely. But if I get any way to remove either of them, I can hit in for a lot, potentially lethal. Another Sage. So I think we're going to Deadly Dispute here. Do I want to... I could play this Life Staff and dispute it, but that's more mana. I think we're going to pump this Insect, which might be wrong. Maybe I should just go all in on one of these, as if we're going to find the removal spell, but we'll just do this. Deadly Dispute. Reaping is not bad. So, play Mortician Beetle. I think we're just playing a Sage and going all in. They could block here and here, and we couldn't kill them with a Feeder, but I'm fine with this trading and them chumping, and then dealing 4 to 6 damage here. That's fine by me. And they do. We'll sack the Sage for some counters, a little bit extra damage, but we'll let these trade and chump and pass. They have a Bugler. It's a lot of mana for a 2/3. See if it pays off for them. Lunar Veteran's not bad. Fair enough. Still no Prismatic Strands, so we can kind of just keep making them chump. We get a Swamp. So I think we're just leaving up the Reaping the Graves. For they're more likely to cast 2 or 3 spells than we are. Playing the Sylvok doesn't really matter, so I'll just leave that. We get to swing. I don't think I swing with Beetle here because it gets eaten pretty easily, but we can swing with these 3 pretty comfortably. These are both lethal, and this is just trading with a bird is great. They do chump and trade, and we'll pass. I could just play the Life Staff. Probably should have, to be fair, just because I could equip it next turn even if we're still holding up Reaping. They concede. Yeah, definitely losing their creatures every turn was not going to be a winning strat for them. So Death's Head feels good in this match. They don't have a ton of 1/1s, to be fair. They have a lot of creatures with 2 or 3 toughness. But if they have any Rafine's Informants that don't have their counter like they did this time, that's good. But also Lunark Veteran and also Battle Screech is 1 card that makes 4 1/1s, so having them just for that is pretty good, I think. And Rotten Reunions can pick off Prismatic Strands, Battle Screech, or Lunark Veterans, so I think those are good. I don't think we need the Life Staffs. They are aggro-ish, but honestly, I think White Weenie's more of a mid-range deck than a aggro deck. It's not usually winning on like turn 4 or 5 like most aggro decks are trying to. It's winning on more turns 6 to 8 with a lot of card advantage along the way. So we could just cut like 2 freebooters and a Conviction. All of these are creatures, so we actually could just cut 3 freebooters, leave the Conviction in because it can still sack any of them, and we actually want Convictions for this Buzzard. Reaping still seems it seems okay in this match, but they have Thraben Charms to blow up our graveyard. They didn't see the Reaping, so it's possible that they wouldn't think to use it that way. But I think having 3, I think we can maybe cut 1 of them just because we don't want to be as all in on it. And is Snuff Out even necessary? We didn't think to bring them in. I think we kind of just want to do what we did, which is force them to chump from early on. Prismatic Strands makes things hard, but I don't think losing 4 life is really great for this. So actually, Looks like we can keep the freebooters after all. We got a mulligan. This one looks pretty good. Some good sideboard cards. We don't have anything immediately sacrificable for all these, but if we go a couple turns without drawing anything, maybe we put back, or rather maybe we just like reunion. I have to put something back. So actually I probably just get rid of this Conviction. I guess I could hold up for 2 mana Rotten Reunion. Conviction is just a 2 mana draw 2, discard 2, draw 2, which seems okay. Kind of like the Dispute though. I guess having the Conviction with the Buzzard's pretty good too, because that's 4 mana, wipe the board instead of 5. Could get rid of the Rotten Reunion, but then we don't have anything to sacrifice early. This is a tough call. I think for once it's actually the Deadly Dispute that we put back. They're on a mull to 5, so that actually helps us quite a bit. Less likely that we're going to be under a ton of pressure right away. Still possible though, if they have the right draw. Thraben Inspector is a nice start for them. We get a Swamp. I think we're just going to Beetle. If we end up doing Reunion Conviction turn 2, then at least we'll have a 2/2 Beetle. They're going to swing for 1. There's the Skyfisher. Predicted it 1 game off. Sage is nice, so we get to play that. I can't attack because I could Conviction this, but this is only a 2/2. And then they eat it, and we're not willing to lose our Beetle for that, so we'll just pass. We're still going to Conviction on the end step here, but we'll wait in case they try to kill the Beetle or something. There's a Veteran, start gaining up some life from this Inspector. It's not a bad draw from them, considering 5 cards. They're going to swing with the Skyfisher. This opens us up to attack. I could have made a 1/1 and blocked, but I don't see a reason to lose our 1/1 at the moment. Well, this 1/1 I definitely see a reason to. The Bug I don't see a reason to lose yet. Oh, I didn't always, yes. Dispute and another Bug is great. We're just Bug City over here. So play a Beetle. In case they double block this Beetle, then I can Dispute the Insect and hit him for a bunch. So yeah, this looks great. Honestly, I think my favorite draws are with the Beetles. Gixian Infiltrator is obviously good too, but Beetle being 1 mana, triggering off of your opponent sacking stuff, it's so good. We'll take 2 more in the air here. Not too terribly concerned with this. They have a Bugler. Okay, Bugling, and they got a Veteran. We don't want to waste this mana, so we're going to sack this Insect. Draw 2, get some counters. Village Rites is great. So we could play a Buzzard. Doesn't kill anything other than this Veteran at the moment. So I think we're still just holding it. Play a Freebooter. We get to swing for a bit here. I didn't do the math pre-combat. They could quad block this, or triple block rather, this one, and if we don't draw something with this Village Rites, we're in a bit of trouble, but I think it's okay. They didn't block. So do I want to sack the Freebooter to draw 2? I think so. Worst case, I can just play the Buzzard. And I also get a Scry here, so 3 attempts to find something relevant. And Link Breaker is fine. It chumps. I guess it's not the best thing. We don't have more card draw. Dies to Buzzard. I guess we can get rid of that right now. I guess it's not quite what we're looking for. Carrion Feeder's not bad, though. So we hit for 7, down to 12. And yeah, I guess we just freeboot and Carrion Feeder. So now we have 2 more instant speed sacks if we want to pump any of our team. If they swing, we'll probably just chump the Bugler with the freebooter, sack it. So Battle Screech, interesting card. Makes 2 guys, flashback, make 2 more guys. Now, if they don't have a Lunarch Veteran on the battlefield, there's no way that you can respond to the making 2 by exiling it with a Rotten Reunion. But if they have a Veteran, that a trigger goes on the stack to gain them a life, and that gives you priority, which means you can Rotten Reunion away the card from the graveyard, which is interesting. It's a detriment to have the Lunarch Veteran against instant speed graveyard hate. And so if they were to play a Battle Screech here, for example, we would definitely take it away before they would have a chance to cast it with a flashback. We definitely scry a Vault of the Whispers to the graveyard, or the bottom rather. Take 2. There's another Veteran. So it doesn't look like we're getting Battle Screech to this turn. Battle Scroach? Nope, that sounds terrible. Novice Inspector. A lot of clues. Do I want to Rotten here? It gets to attack, but it can't attack past this, so I don't think we need to. Gixian grows a lot pretty quickly. So let's play that, just in case I want to Rotten Reunion instant speed, and then sack. So we'll play a Swamp for the same reason, so that I don't have to use these up. And then this could be a 4/4. If they block a million guys on this, I can actually make it in a weird way where the Death's Head Buzzard could... Oh, but I wouldn't have my sack outlet. But I could like distribute damage so that none of them would die, and then the Buzzard finishes them all off, but not because this works. So this is 4/4, but they would have to block with boom, boom, boom. It's not unreasonable, but then they're, chumping these two. I could just swing with these two. This guy can't block, though. They're at 0 cards, so they could draw something, but I'm not thinking the reunion's crazy important. I also have this Buzzard for the removal aspect. I maybe should have played the Buzzard pre-combat so that I have it as a trick. If they multi-block, their guy shrinks more than our guy shrinks. But I think we're going to swing with the team. They have to invest a lot to block this Carrion Feeder, and I think I'm okay with it if they do. And from their perspective, it looks kind of like we'd have to sacrifice one of our pretty good creatures to make it a 3/3 even. So it's possible they just block here, saying, hey, I'm willing to trade this Militia Bugler for this Infiltrator, and then we'll get him with the Rotten Reunion. They do go for the triple block, but they're taking 9 here with Clue, but no other cards or mana. So 9, I can Reunion is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we can pretty easily kill them here. Rotten Reunion doesn't have to target. It's choose up to 1, so we won't exile anything. We will make a 2/2. We will do it again with no target. And then we will sacrifice them to the Carrion Feeder to grow the Beetles big enough to just win. So that seems good. They're dealing 11, 13, and I guess keeping this around is good. So we'll do this one for all it matters. Deal them 15 damage. Nice. All right, round 5 here. We finally drew the Dross Pits, and it looks like it's going to hurt to not have the center untapped. We don't have any sack outlets, but I think this might be okay. It's just a lot of value. So question is, do I just want to play a Dross Pits or a Swamp and get a one drop down? I don't think the Infiltrator does much until we get these others down, so I'm going to start with a Swamp and play... I think I've learned Ghast is usually the ideal turn 1 against an unknown opponent. They have an Elvish Mystic, so if we get a Village Rites, this will be a nice one to kill. Well, we have to bring out the counter. I introduced this last video. Got or got me with the Dross Pits. Whether the land entering tapped is significantly detrimental versus if it's worth it to get the card. I absolutely hate to say it, but I got. Because deadly disputing this to kill off an Elvish Mystic would be so good right now. And we're not going to get that because of the Dross Pits. So, I'm sorry. Instead, we will freebooter. If Elvish Mystic just means more Elves, that's going to be pretty unfortunate, because I think Elves is one of our worst matchups. It's uninteractive in a way that we can't deal with very well, and also that like 1 or 2 snuff outs isn't really going to cut it. Like against Brood Scale, 1 snuff out can just win us the game, because it can delay them 2 or 3 turns. 1 snuff out against Elves, is not usually good enough, unfortunately. They play a Birchlore and Aquarian. Both of them are Rangers. Where's a Death's Head Buzzard when you need one? There's another Llanowar Elves. I think I saw someone playing this, or rather I saw that somebody had played this at, oh, they untap, and yeah, they didn't have a land drop, so that's 2 more mana. That's pretty good. Winding Way. 3 more creatures. I saw that someone at MagicCon Chicago had played a mono-green Elves version. Now, Elves is usually mono-green, but the sideboard is Wooburg. But this one has Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elves and things like that, and its sideboard is also only green. But I guess it didn't have Birchlore Rangers, so I'm not sure that's the case. Well, Timberwatch Elf is always a problem, but the only thing we can really do about it is pick off these Rangers. So I think we're going to Deadly Dispute this Ghast to kill a Ranger to slow him down a little bit. We'll attack for 2 first, for all that it will do. Deadly Dispute the Ghast, pick off the Ranger. Beetle and a Feeder is not really where we want to be at. I guess I can play a Beetle, turn 4, next turn, I can play a Carrion Feeder and a Link Breaker. I can make the Beetle like a 4/4. It's not really fast enough to be that good, but it's what we got. I will also say Death's Head Buzzard was one that I think works more synergistically with this deck than, say, a Suffocating Fumes, which is more prevalent in the format. Last match against Elves, the Suffocating Fumes would have been way better because we wouldn't have needed to jump through all the hoops and had extra mana to sacrifice the Death's Head. So that's something I'm also keeping in mind, is that in that case, Suffocating Fumes would have been better. So we'll see if that's the case in the post-sideboard games in this match. But if there are too many hoops to jump through, it might just be worth it to have Suffocating Fumes, even though the creature is great for sacrifice and also great for Reaping the Graves. Sometimes just raw power is better than synergy, even though this is a synergy-driven deck. Sometimes you just need a powerful card at the right time, hence the snuff outs in the main deck. Play another Ranger, play a Sentinel. Can definitely get this Timberwatch Elf down if they want. Tapping for red, so that it looks like they have a red spell in the main deck. Tuk Tuk, yep, that is indeed a Tuk Tuk. That's a tough one to deal with. I mean, Swamp's fine. We can play Swamp, Carrion Feeder, Link Breakers, and then have a potentially 6/6 Mortician Beetle attacking. I don't really think that matters, though. They take the damage, and then they can double Timberwatch us for at least 12. I could also Freebooter here. I guess I could have sacked the Freebooter we had, played the Infiltrator, gone through Freebooters. Only would get one Link Breaker out, but we would have a Gixian growing too. That probably would have been better. I could still sack this and play it, but that's kind of late. Yeah, that would have been a better play. I don't know if it will matter, but I fully admit that was suboptimal. Let's attack with the Mortician Beetle. They're just going to take it. We're going to sacrifice a couple of guys. I guess we might need as many blockers as possible, so we'll only sack the guys that replace themselves. Deal 3. They start with the lead, the Stampede. In case you didn't think this was a combo deck, Tuk Tuk really makes it into a combo deck, because now if they just find Priest of Titania like this, they can tap all 4 of these for 2 mana, play a Priest, which taps for 6. They can tap that for 6 green, then they can Aquarian Ranger, untap it for 12 green. If they have another Priest along the way, they can play that as well, and then they potentially just win with a Nyxborn and a Timberwatch Elf. Oh, and they have a Sentinel to play first, which makes it so that the Priest is going to be more, or it means that they spent 2 mana on a 1-drop that only gave them half a mana. They spent 2 tapped creatures to make a 1 more tapped creature. So actually they actually messed up by playing that there, because that means that they had to spend their Quirion Ranger to untap this elf instead of using it for a priest. See, I'm a better Elves pilot. I'm just kidding. That's totally a joke. Priest of Titania. A Winding Way. Still trying to combo off. You get a Masked Vandal and a Birch Lore. Not quite what they wanted. They wanted another Priest, or another Quirion, or another Timberwatch. There's the Timberwatch. They do have the second Timberwatch, which is plus 18. No trample, and we do have a blocker for this, though. It's also not lethal. It's 19 damage. They do swing. We're going to block it here. They're going to pump. I mean, we're going to sack this. I don't think we have the draws for it here, but I guess there's a world where they tapped so low on creatures that if we got like a snuff out, we could maybe win. Because we have what? Another counter here, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. They also have a Quirion Ranger, so they can have another untapped blocker, so we would actually need 2 removal spells. But 12 damage. I mean, we have enough to make them chump with something. I mean, Vault isn't going to do it. I guess if we Deadly Dispute into 2 snuff outs, we could get there. Because we could snuff out both blockers. Village Rites even would probably be fine too. Yeah, let's try to do that. Beetle isn't it. We can sack a Dross Pits. That opens up the Village Rites again, but I don't think we'd have enough mana at that point. And these don't even die because it just gives itself plus 10, plus 9. So we don't have any card draw except for this Dross Pits, so I guess I'll sack it in case we get Village Rites into double snuff out. It's a Gixian Infiltrator, guys. I mean, I guess we'll see if they want to make a mistake and not block. That's about all we can do. Sack this guy. Scry, there's our Village Rites. Amazing. Play this Beetle. Buff. Buff. Now we attack. And if they don't block, it's going to be pretty good. They Quirion Ranger. That's weird. Why would they do that? Alright, maybe they don't tap them and they lose their 2 guys. Interesting. They seem to have not chosen to throw. Alright, we'll go to the next game. We get these spells again, and I think we're going to try Fiends again. Take out Reaping. Take out Life Staff. And I guess we'll take out the Freebooters. Try to have as much removal as we can. We need a very fast, disruptive start. That is what we need. Alright, on the play. Mesmeric Fiend after a Carrion Feeder with a Snuff Out. I mean, this one looks pretty great. Also the Shambling Ghast. This is definitely the hand we need. So turn 1 Carrion, so we start attacking. Probably just rip a card from their hand immediately. And then the following turn we Gixian and Shambling Ghast. Based on what we see in their hand, we might snuff out whatever creature they've already played. Maybe we wait on it. But if they keep like 1 land Llanowar Elves, we might want to keep the we might want to snuff that out. They did mulligan to 6, so might have to have kept a slightly sketchier hand, and that makes our Thought Seize from the Fiend quite a bit better. Could also play the Gixian on 2. There's the Llanowar Elves. And that would be a lot more aggressive, which is tempting. Deadly Dispute. But I think turn 2 for them is so important that Mesmeric Fiend and potentially a Snuff Out is too high value that we need to go for it. They probably don't play removal, but we still just want to sack the Fiend for an extra counter here, as opposed to leaving it around. But we want the counter from this. If we get a Reaping the Graves, we can buy it back. There's a lot of reasons to. Look at their hand. What do they got? Lead the Stampede, Masked Vandal, Nyxborn, and Aquarian. 1 extra land. So if we take Quarian, they can just go with the Lead the Stampede next turn, and that's random, but it could be really good. I think if we take Lead the Stampede, they don't have a lot going on. Masked Vandal's irrelevant. Quarian doesn't look great, and a Nyxborn isn't good until later. So yeah, we take the Lead the Stampede, which they could play on turn 2. So that's a reason to. Why are there 2 Nyxborn Hydras here? I don't know. And then we can still decide if we want to snuff out. I don't think so. Like I said, they don't really have anything else going on. And snuff out's too valuable to waste on like a Llanowar Elves when they still have the second forest. Plus they have the Quarian, so that's at least 3 land, or rather 3 mana from lands per turn. Plus we have a Shambling Ghast that can pick off the Elves if we really want. So I think we're just going to pass here. If we don't draw a land, we probably just play Infiltrator and try to get some counters on that the following turn. This means if they play Masked Vandal, we might not be able to attack with the Feeder. Or rather, we can attack as a bluff, potentially. They have Aquarian played. Yeah, just going to run out the Masked Vandal. So that Fiend was really good for us. Village Rites. So I could just Ghast Village Rites down Aquarian. I don't think we want to attack. I could play a Ghast and attack. We get in for 2, because if they block, we can just kill. But I think we want this Infiltrator down before we start sacrificing. I could play this, and then I could attack and threaten to sack the Infiltrator if they go for the double block. That's not bad, actually. Because if we get the Quarian Ranger out of that, and then have a 3/3 attacking pass, I don't hate that. I think their 2 creatures are too important. They're not going to be willing to... Like, they don't care about the Masked Vandal, but they care about the Quarian. So if they just block here, then that's fine. We'll just let them bounce off. Yeah, but there's always a possibility we just get in for 2 free damage. And we're going to pass. Still have a Snuff Out. They drew another Forest. Looks like they might just be playing a 4x Hydra. I guess they could go 3x on the Masked Vandal. That would probably make more sense. Just about as big, but then I have to kill it twice. Yep, 4/6. That's fine. If I want, I could snuff this out so that we only have to have a... Oh, they're going to attack. Fair enough. I'm gonna... Oh, they can untap it. Right. So 4/6. Next turn, let's see. I get to play a Ghast, which can Village Rites, sack the treasure. So this would be a 4/3. Not going to get past this. I could sack to this. That's only a 3/3. Yeah, this might be a problem. I could just snuff it out, but I don't think it's a problem. It's just going to, like, slow us down. Corrupted Conviction's fine. I guess we need more mana here. We have to play this Ghast because we got to get one of these going. And I think we're going to just Corrupted right away. Ping off the Quarian Ranger, because that's still pretty good to kill. I want the treasure, but I think I want to kill the Ranger while we can. Not while we can, but just at all if we can. So I'm going to kill that. We get a counter here. We still get to draw 2. Ideally, we find a swamp. If they don't untap this, then we get to attack in, which they didn't. Probably didn't want to set them back the mana. Draw 2. We get a swamp. That's great. So we have 5 damage here. 6, 7, 8, 9. We don't have anything else to play for 1, so we're just going to play this. Attack. And we're going to need to sack some for this next turn, but we're going to have these. I think I'm going to sack once. If we don't draw any creatures off of the next 3 draws from this Deadly Dispute or Village Rites, then it's going to feel a little bad that I sacrificed one of them when I could have kept them both for Village Rites and Deadly Dispute, but I want to get in for the damage while I can. They morph. That's a Birchlore Ranger, so it's just a 2/2, and it can flip up into a 1/1. Don't think they're attacking here. Oh, I guess maybe they think their only play is to attack. Fair enough. We will take 4. That means if we can find another removal spell for one of these, we can probably just kill. Swamp's fine. So let's buff up the Carrion and dispute away the Mercenary. Village Rites and a Sage. Just play the Sage. Village Rites it. Just looking, if I get another snuff out or anything, we can probably just kill. Carrion Feeder on a Mortician Beetle. Okay, well, we can just swing. They have to chump at least one, being this guy, or they could double block this, but then if I play a creature pre-combat, then I could just sack all 3 and I'd win, assuming this green doesn't do anything, which I don't think it will. I think we just play a Beetle and swing. Yeah, I think that's fine. Don't think we're in that much danger of dying from this Masked Vandal. So they go for the double blocks, totally fine. Or rather, the 2 single blocks. It's a Birchlore Rangers, oh my god. I did not expect that. They found a forest. They're going to stick to their guns and attack. I don't think there's any way we could die here, but on the off chance they have +8/+8, I have a snuff out for it. There's a Priest of Titania. I think we got him. I guess it doesn't show on board because they could chump here, but we will snuff this out if we need to. And see, I guess I could just Village Rites, hew, draw some more cards. There's a snuff out. Perfect. All right, we'll attack for lethal. So that's what we need. Now, we were on the play, so just being on the draw is going to make it so much worse, because if we did that same as Mesmeric Fiend on turn 2, they already would have gotten the lead to Stampede off, would have probably drawn 3 to 5 cards, and it would not have gone as well. So I think we basically need a snuff out in our opening hand to take back the draw, or rather the play, because if they go Llanowar Elves on turn 1, we snuff it out, and then also play a Shambling Ghast, then they can only play a 2-drop or 2 1-drops. I mean, with a Birchlore or something, maybe 3 1-drops. And then we can, I guess if we Carrion Feeder, we can Mesmeric Fiend. I don't know. I think Snuff Out's pretty important. I think maybe having a Death Head would be pretty good, of course. But I don't think that same hand with the Mesmeric Fiend is going to be good enough on the draw, even though it looked incredible. It's just, turn 2 is too slow in Pauper, against Elves at least. Not a turn 2 win. Obviously, that'd be good. But it's also possible we could get just a crazy fast start like we've seen before. Usually is a Shambling Ghast on turn 1, Deadly Disputed on turn 2, and then turn 3 we get to power out like a couple Mortician Beetles, a Gixian Infiltrator, and a Carrion Feeder. The following turn we play out some fodder and attack with all of them. That is really fast against a lot of opponents, but that's still a turn 4 attacking with 3 or 4 big guys. By then, they could have already overrun us with practically infinite mana, Nyxborn Hydras, and the like, so I don't even think a hand like that is really going to cut it, unfortunately. This looks like a solid hand in the dark, but I don't think... We do have the Ghast. This hand looks fine, but no interaction, except for the Ghast. So is Ghast good enough? Turn 1, we Carrion Feeder. Turn 2, Ghast to pick something off. Then play a Sage. Attack with a 4/4. I don't know. I think this might be a mulligan in this matchup, but it just looks too good to get rid of for me. Sentinel makes it worse. That's not something we can pick off with a Ghast. There's a Swamp. Let's play a Feeder. They have a Birchlore. Tap those for Aquarian. I guess they could untap, set themselves back a land, but they could play another 1-drop. Oh, not set themselves back a land because they only had the 1. Okay, so they got 2 more mana. Let's see, this is why Elves is crazy. Black, so they have a Mesmeric Fiend. They don't have a sacrifice for it, but they don't need it. Kind of annoying. I guess they just take our Corrupted Conviction. But then we get to Ghast down their Mesmeric Fiend, which is fine. So I guess they have to take the Ghast then? Unless they just want to set us back on the Conviction. Ghast is the main thing that interacts here anyway, so that's probably what they want to take, regardless. Indeed. We just get a Swamp. Well, I can just play out a Sage and or a Linkbreaker and swing for 5, but we probably want to keep something for this Conviction. I could just go for Conviction. I don't think we do that now, because we could get a Snuff Out, but then if they have another Mesmeric Fiend, they could take something. So I think we just play Sage. The Linkbreaker actually might be better in this case, because if the Carrion Feeder's getting in, the +1 power could be good, whereas the Insect can't actually get past the Sentinel. Probably not a big deal, but... So do I want to hit for 2... and then sack the Insect? I guess that's probably fine anyway. Yes. And then, yeah, we'll hold up Corrupted. In case they have another Mesmeric Fiend, we can do it in response, which I guess just gives them access to whatever we draw. So maybe that's bad. But also if they go for something crazy, maybe they get a Tuk-Tuk Rebel Fort down, and then also a Priest, we can at least dig for a Snuff Out. There's a Well-Wisher. That's not the main thing I'm concerned with at the moment. Death's Head Buzzard looks phenomenal here. That would be a great draw. I say, before they probably play like a Spider Silk Armor or something. Untap the Sentinel. Tap a bunch for a lead the Stampede. Okay. Tuk Tuk, Timberwatch, Avenging Hunter, and a Generous Ent. That's a lot of bad. A Buzzard would go crazy, though, because they're on one land. Generous Ent does find a second. So we're definitely digging for it with this Conviction on this Insect token. And that's not anything good. Snuff Out's not bad. It's not great. What do they have next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So they could play a Hunter. I think we snuff out this Ranger. So that leaves them with 1, 2, 3 mana. Yeah, that eats 2 of it. That seems good. I guess we play an Infiltrator and this Link Breaker and attack. See if they want to untap and chump, but I doubt it. We will sack the Link Breaker, grow a little bit. Don't want to sack the Mercenary for 4. I think we want to hold it back. I think that's fine. I think we gotta snuff out the Ranger because I guess they have to tap everything to play the Hunter, right? They tap everything to play Hunter. They have a Hunter, but we snuff that out. We take the initiative, hit for a bunch, and that's fine. But they can also then untap something. We still get the initiative. Or they can play Rubble Belt for 3, untap, 2 more. Cycle a Generous Ent. I guess it's just Rubble Belt. Actually, maybe we don't snuff out this turn. Because if we snuff out the Quirion, they could just play a Cycle Generous Ent and play a Rubble Fort, and then the next turn they're kind of good. Or they play out the Timberwatch. The problem is they have so many threats here. Like, pretty much all of these I would want to kill. So snuffing the Ranger is the main way to set them back. I think we need to. I think we have a pretty decent aggressive attack here, but only if we survive a couple of turns. And I think we need to set them back to do that. So that's my call. Cycle the Ent, play a Forest. They do also have this Well-Wisher, which can gain them some life. Of course, they have another Quirion Ranger. I mean, still set them back this turn, but having another one is pretty annoying. Buzzard would still go great. They tap for 2, looking to play the Rubble Fort. They had to untap bounce their land. They can pay 3. All they have untapped is the Tuk Tuk, but then they can Quirion Ranger to untap another guy if they want as a blocker. But I think they thought maybe they had another land drop, and so they could play the Tuk Tuk and still have some like mana and blockers up, but that does not seem to be the case. But again, they can Quirion, so they'll still have 2 blockers and won't have to lose the Tuk Tuk if they don't want. There it is. We do have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage. Really need some not swamps. 13 damage doesn't even force them to block, but we will attack. They just take it. Man, I wish we had an instant speed blocker like a Rotten Reunion, which obviously isn't good in this match, but that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So they can just take it and be fine. I guess we might as well sack the Sage, get our flyer. I guess if we had lethal, they could also just untap the Well-Wisher after and gain 4. I guess we might as well sack this Mercenary too, because it's not doing us any good. We'll keep the flyer, though, in case they play a Hunter and we want to try to take it. But they have a Timberwatch Elf with Haste and Quirion, which is plus 10 right now. It's not a great situation. They do go to untap the Well-Wisher, even though we're not dealing them lethal. I guess they're worried about the burn. Fair enough. We'll hit them for 11 and pass. 3 mana for their Timberwatch. Tap the Well-Wisher to gain a bunch. Untap the Well-Wisher to gain a bunch. I mean, Buzzard would still be good. Deadly Dispute into Buzzard and something else would be nice, if I can get greedy about it. Infiltrator doesn't do too much. They can just take the damage. They don't have a Forest, actually, so they don't have an untap here. That's interesting. This does have Reach, so it can just block the Insect. But this can only give plus 5, which would be a 6-7 at the best, so we could sack these 2 to pump either of these. I guess it trades with this, but I guess it's worth it to trade for this. I mean, getting in for damage doesn't do a lot here, but we might as well. I suppose if it's not lethal, which it's not going to be, then Timberwatch Elf twice plus an Avenging Hunter, which can attack, is probably lethal on us on our turn, or their turn. But that's all we got. I could have left back this Infiltrator, but I don't think we do that. I think we at least force them to think about it. And they do block with the Tuk Tuk. I mean, that's not bad. Oh, but they can pump to keep it alive. Oh, so I can't even kill it. Unfortunate. So, and then I have to sack an Insect to keep my guy alive. And then we probably just die on the crackback. I mean, I could kill it if I sack both of these. If I sack both of these, I have no blockers. They have 10, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage on us. We just have 1, 8, 8. They have a bunch of damage. And then I top deck a Buzzard. I wipe the board, mostly. And I get a Snuff Out. I honestly don't think not killing this is going to help us because they play a land, tap for 1, 2, 1, 2. I guess they can't play this Avenging Hunter with haste. Yeah, I guess we leave it like this. They actually are out of mana unless they use their Quirion Ranger and their Timberwatch Elf to tap for mana and like a Quirion Ranger for mana and stuff, like, which is fine if that's what they do, because then they're not killing us with the Timberwatch. They have a Winding Way, Start the Storm, Findhorn, and a Birchlore. I mean, fine, those both pump this by 1 extra twice. Play out the Findhorn and the Birchlore. Untap the Findhorn. They just need one more elf, and then... No, because now they can't... If they have a Quirion Ranger, but they don't have a land drop. I don't think they can kill us this turn now. I mean, wait for me to be wrong, but that's my read. They go to combat. Attack with these two, which is 9 damage, because they've already activated this. They only have 3 blockers. If there's a world where I win this, it's... They tap this here. I guess they still gain, what, 7, 19? But I get removal and I get a bunch of stuff. I don't think blocking and losing our guy is a winning play, so I think we're gonna just take it. They do pump, make it 9. I mean, honestly, like a Deadly Dispute into 2 removal spells, I think does it. I guess we can't pay for 2 Snuff Outs, but like a Ghast and a Snuff Out. There's 1 Snuff Out. Is that enough? I doubt it. They have a Well-Wisher which can block. They can go up to 19. The Gixians, we have 15 damage on board right now, and no way to pump that. Yeah, because sacking any of them just shrinks. So that's 15. We attack. Well-Wisher just automatically makes it so they don't die. Even if we take out the Rebel Fort, we will die on the crackback. However, if we just kill the Timberwatch, can they kill us? Because we attack with the Carrion Feeder because it can't block, but we leave back both Infiltrators. Kill the Timberwatch. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Plus a land, so they can play an Avenging Hunter, which is gonna start killing us. I mean, we don't have anything else, right? This kills us no matter what, so we have to kill it. We don't have a winning play this turn. Pretty confident in that. This can't block, so I might as well hit for 6. And I think these gotta stay back. I guess I could have swung with 2 of these. I should have thought about that a little bit more because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 7. If I swung with 2, I guess that's 1 short of dying, but if they just have Forest and a 1-drop, we would die there. So this might be okay. We're gonna snuff this guy out, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do no matter what. So I guess I'll play this Vault of Whispers on the off chance we draw Deadly Dispute and then need a mana from a land that we play. We have it. I have another Timberwatch Elf. Well, that's gonna do it. Any attacking blocker, any unblocked attacker is lethal, and we can only block 2 of them. Still, they Quirion Ranger this Sentinel to play something else. They go for a Nyxborn Hydra for 0 on this to give it trample just to make sure. And then they attack just with it. Well, just this doesn't kill us though, right? Because they've already used their Quirion. And this is only for 7. I mean, we got a double block, which is not great. 7 makes it 8, so it's going to trade with both. I guess I could just do this, and I wouldn't die. Because 7... I guess I could just do this. 7 makes it 8, so I'll go to 1. And I have 2 decent attackers. I mean, we're not killing them, but I guess we'll do this. Maybe we should do the other one so every 1/1 doesn't kill us, but I don't know why they didn't just attack with 4 guys. We got a Village Rites. They only have 1 blocker. It's a Well-Wisher, though. It gains them 7. 19. I mean, I think we attack with this Carrion Feeder and we Village Rites it away. There's no reason to attack with both. There's no way that can win us the game. On the off chance we draw a couple removal spells, I guess the Buzzard, which would mean we'd need the Feeder for it. Feeder can't block, so this attack's fine anyway. Sacrifice it, then we need a sack for a Buzzard. Buzzard doesn't, well, it wipes these, shrinks everything. Doesn't kill the Timberwatch, but it kills this, which would mean the Ghast would come back, and then we can kill the Timberwatch. Then they're left with just this? Oh, well, this is really unfortunate. So I can sack the Gixie into the Village Rites. If we get a Buzzard, we can wipe everything relevant except for this one Sentinel. But then I don't have any blockers, and this Sentinel can kill us. But if I sack the Carrion Feeder, Buzzard doesn't do it because even if I get a Village Rites for that, I don't have it for the Shambling Ghast. So I think I have to Village Rites this Gixie in, which obviously means it would have been better to attack. So I should have thought about that first, but I think this is our only play. We get a Deadly Dispute. I mean, that's a redraw on the vault. There is a Buzzard and a Carrion Feeder. And then we die to the Sentinel, right? Because we don't have a blocker. Because if I wait to their turn to Buzzard, then they can Timberwatch in response. I could Buzzard now, and then I can Shambling Ghast and wait till their turn to Shambling Ghast, which could block this and then ping off the Hydra. I think there's a world where this actually works. This is kind of crazy, and obviously I would have preferred this earlier, but we're going to shrink the whole board. We get this card back. We get to play a blocker. I guess if they just attack with both of these, no, that's fine too. Because I can block and sack and shrink the other one. And if they attack with this and this, I can block here. I guess if they're smart enough to pump before blocks, I die. This way I can sack this here, kill the elf, but then this Sentinel kills us. I think we pass. Somehow this kind of got tight at the end, but not really, I don't think. They will just attack with these two, and they pump it before. Unfortunate, because if they let me block, I could have blocked, but since I can't, because this has trample, so I can't block here and then ping this down. I can block here and then ping this down, but they have two elves, so this is going to be one, so it's going to be lethal either way. Pretty unfortunate that it came down to it being so close. We'll ping that off. And they got there. This is the second league that I've played that I got 3-2, and both of the losses were to the same opponent. The first one being Kuldotha, then we made the Sylvok Lifestaff change, and that helped a lot with the Kuldotha matchup. And then now, first time I'm playing against Elves, I play against it twice, and clearly don't have a very good matchup against them. I do think we drew a little poorly in some of those matches. We saw some snuff outs and some mesmeric fiends at some crucial times. We were able to take a game because of that one fiend on turn 2 on the play. I don't think we saw a Buzzard in either matches until that very last moment. Oh, but we did see the Buzzard in the first match with the Elves. It's just that it was so underwhelming because it cost us essentially 5 mana to do because we had to Deadly Dispute it. And in that case, the Suffocating Fumes would have been way better. In this case, Suffocating Fumes would have been exactly the same. We would have still had to cast it on our turn to get back the Ghast to play. So it was one more counter on a feeder, which is technically better, but the feeder was tapped and not attacking, so it didn't really matter. So that's one where I would have preferred a Suffocating and one where it didn't matter either way. I know Elves is nowhere near as prevalent as Kuldotha, so these being in the main deck are very important. But if we do keep seeing more Elves, definitely need to maybe up some board wipes. I am thinking like Arms of Hadar, Breath Weapon are not that detrimental to us, like if our opponent sides them in, because we can just sack all of our small guys and grow our big guys out of range of it. So I almost think just having a Drown in Sorrow in the sideboard wouldn't be terrible. I know there are going to be times where it's going to feel awkward because we don't want to lose all our guys, but against an opponent where it's crucial that we kill all their guys, like Elves, I don't mind if I lose a couple of my creatures, even a couple beetles or like more of our important creatures, if we're able to take care of, if we're playing it on turn 3, 4 or 6 Elves already. So, and I think the -2/-2 is important enough. We saw Turn Timber Ranger, Jaspera Sentinel are 2 key ones that can survive. Elvish Vanguard survives. Obviously, it's only one more counter. But I think a Drown in Sorrow wouldn't be bad in the sideboard, even though it looks weird because we are a creature deck with all 1/1s. I think a Drown in Sorrow actually wouldn't be too bad. And I think Arms of Hadar would just be a little slow, which is why I don't want it. Turn 4, we can absolutely be dead. Turn 3, they have to have a really good start for us to just be out of the game. So I think Drown in Sorrow might be the way to go. But in any case, I'm still relatively happy with the league. Only losing to one type of deck means that we are decent against other decks. We played against White Weenie, which felt really solid. We played against that mono blue terror kind of a deck, which obviously was a little bit more off meta, as is the deck we are playing. And we played against Dredge. Dredge always feels a little weird the couple times I played it, because Gnawed of the Bone is really powerful against us. Some life gain isn't crazy good, but Gnawed of the Bone, seeing as they have so many of them and they gain so much life and they can cast them twice, can really set us back. But the Rotten Reunions are great. The Shambling Ghast picking off 1/1s is great. And then just forcing them to chump all of our guys really quickly can be good too. Lifestaff, not really great in that matchup either. But overall, Still loving the deck. Gonna keep working on it. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I think there's a lot of tinkering that you can do. I think the deck list is pretty solid as is, but definitely some kinks to be worked out and some elves to be crushed. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.